Who's there?
Z is a professional hitwoman based in Paris who, most of the time, meets with her boss, Finn, in an abandoned church. Finn works for crime lord Jules Gobert, helping him eliminate his rivals in the drug business, and this is where Z typically comes in. Upon arrival, Finn informs Z that the job they discussed is scheduled for nighttime. He instructs her to ensure that no one leaves the room alive. In another scene, two police inspectors, Say and Jax, are waiting in their car to track down Coco, a suspected criminal. As soon as they spot him, they chase and capture him. However, during the interrogation, Coco manages to escape and fires gunshots at them, injuring Jax in the process. Say pursues him and is forced to shoot Coco when he takes a child hostage. Z visits her friend Tessier, an old high-class tailor who creates disguises for her jobs. As usual, she receives a perfect suit for the night's assignment and heads to the club. At the club, she is tasked with killing members of a drug gang from Marseille who are partying there, including an up-and-coming young American singer named Jen Clark. Z meets with the gang leader, Serge, who insists on searching her to ensure she is unarmed. After allowing him to do so, Z engages Serge in a conversation while dancing. During this, Jen and the gang members receive messages on their phones informing them that Coco is dead. Z manages to bring out her samurai sword without Serge noticing and strikes him with it. Seeing this, the other gang members begin firing at Z, while Jen scrambles for safety. During the chaos, Jen falls and hits the back of her head, which causes her to go blind. Z, having successfully killed everyone in the club except Jen, approaches her to finish the job. However, upon hearing Jen lament about her blindness, Z feels pity and spares her life. Z returns to the old church, where Finn questions her decision to spare Jen. Z explains that Jen is just a kid who happened to be at the scene. Nevertheless, Finn, unwilling to accept her reasons, sends her back to complete the job, this time at the hospital where Jen is admitted. At the police station, Say is visited by Alves and Officer Sydney. Alves informs him that before Coco was killed, he had sent love messages to a girl and was listening to her song on his headphones at the time of his death. Sydney adds that while one of the men who died at the club was killed by gunshot wounds, the rest were killed by a samurai sword. Though Say finds the latter part of their findings unbelievable, it nonetheless leads him onto Jen's trail. Z designs and prints an ID card that disguises her as July No One, a vice consulate from the US Embassy. With this disguise, she gains access to Jen's room in the hospital. Once inside, Z injects Jen's IV drip with a supposedly poisonous liquid while engaging her in a conversation about the current condition of her eyesight. As she's about to leave, Jen asks Z to do her a favor by calling her mom, explaining that her mother will be worried about her. Jen also reveals that she is her mother's problem child and wishes she could make it up to her. This revelation touches Z's heart, and she quickly stops the IV. Just then, Inspector Say arrives to interrogate Jen, but Jen claims she doesn't remember exactly what happened at the club that night and has little to say. Before Say and Z leave, a nurse enters and turns Jen's IV back on. Once the nurse leaves, Z knocks over the IV, pretending it was an accident. After they leave the hospital, Say and Z have a brief discussion. As they part ways, Say receives a call from Carl Staley, the civil attaché at the US Embassy, who informs him that the person he inquired about, referring to Z, does not work there. After the call, Say tries to pursue Z, but she manages to escape. Say, who is also investigating a recent theft of a large load of heroin from Prince Majid bin Fahim, visits him for questioning. Bin Fahim denies recognizing the men who raided his airplane or knowing what they took from it. He also denies any connection to Jules Gobert, a drug dealer who is actually his partner. Finn, upon learning that Jen is still alive, invites Z and questions her about it. Z explains that she was interrupted by a cop. Finn then signals two of his assassins to take action, and they head out. Sensing they are going to the hospital to kill Jen, Z follows them. Before Finn's assassins can reach the hospital, Z arrives and takes Jen out of her hospital room. As she tries to get her to safety, Finn's assassins open fire on them. Say, who visited Jax in the hospital, hears the gunshots and goes to investigate. Seeing that Finn's assassins are firing at Z and Jen, he joins forces with Z to fight them off. After killing Finn's assassins, Z knocks Say out and escapes with Jen, taking her to her apartment. At her apartment, Z reveals to Jen that she is the killer from the nightclub and is responsible for her loss of sight. When Z questions Jen about why she is wanted dead, Jen, though hesitant at first, confesses that the men at the club that night stole Bin Fahim's heroin shipment. Jen explains that Coco was part of the gang and that she was involved as well, though hidden away. Jen further explains that Coco had stashed her away so she could open the door from the inside when the other men left, allowing them to steal the stolen heroin. This information angers Z, who takes Jen to the abandoned church and prepares her gun to kill her. However, she asks Jen to sing first. As Jen sings, Z finds herself unable to go through with the killing and lowers her gun. Afterward, Finn meets Z at the abandoned church, furious that she killed his men. When Finn inquires about Jen, Z lies and tells him that she has eliminated her. Say tracks Z down to an eatery and arrests her. While questioning her, he discovers that she is the one who saved his life during a previous case against a drug dealer. In what appears to be a plan between Say and Z, she successfully escapes custody. Golbert meets with Finn and questions him about the whereabouts of his heroin and why Z hasn't killed Bin Fahim. At that moment, one of Finn's assassins, Kai Mai, disguised as a bartender, shoots Golbert. As Golbert is dying, Finn reveals that he is the one who stole his heroin and then walks away. Meanwhile, Z returns home to discover that Jen has been kidnapped by Finn's men. At the same time, Say arrives at his office and discovers he is being framed with drugs, prompting him to start running while being pursued by some men. Z visits Tessier and learns that a policeman had come asking about her, leaving his contact information so Tessier could call him anytime Z shows up. Z meets with Finn, who tasks her with eliminating Say, saying he will be at stall number 43 at the farmer's market in an hour. Finn promises to release Jen to her in return. Z goes to the location and sets up her sniper rifle, waiting for Say. She is surprised to see him arrive exactly as Finn described. Looking further, she sees Jax meet up with Say and engage him in conversation. Z also spots Kai Mai, who is waiting to kill her after the task is completed. It turns out that the police officer who visited Tessier is Jax. Z calls him and, after berating him for betraying Say and setting him up to be killed, instructs him to hand the phone to Say. As Say takes the phone, Z takes the opportunity to shoot at Jax. Kai Mai, mistaking Z's camouflaged doll for Z, opens fire. At that moment, Z shoots Kai Mai dead. Z informs Say about the setup. They put Jax, who is bleeding from a gunshot wound, inside the car and question him about the whereabouts of Jen and the heroin. Although Jax hesitates at first, he eventually provides the information they need. They then drop him off at the hospital and quickly drive away. They locate the stolen heroin, and Z informs Finn about it. Z then heads to the church, where Finn soon arrives with his assassins. Finn demands the heroin in exchange for Jen. However, the meeting turns violent as Z kicks Finn to the ground and begins searching for Jen, realizing she is somewhere outside the church premises. Amidst the gunfire, Z manages to take Jen to safety. Say soon joins Z in fighting against Finn and his assassins. As the fight continues, Finn spots the van with the heroin and makes his way toward it. However, Say triggers the explosives he had set on the van, destroying the heroin. Immediately after, Z, Say, and Jen retreat into the church. Finn's assassins spot them and open fire, but they manage to get Jen to a safe corner inside the church. Soon, some of Finn's assassins engage Z and Say in a gun battle, and Finn joins the fray. During the final stage of the fight, Say is shot, forcing him to go into hiding. Finn seizes an opportunity and shoots Z in the back. In pain, Z turns to face him. As Finn prepares to shoot Z, she distracts him with a silly question.
What size shoes do you wear?
Giving Say the chance to pass a gun to her. Z uses the gun to shoot Finn. When they return to Jen, she happily announces that she can see again. After secretly watching Jen reunite with her mother, Z calls Say, who is hospitalized, to check up on him. She then tells him she plans to change her line of work. Say is pleased to hear from her, and after helping her solve her last crossword puzzle, they share a heartfelt goodbye. Please subscribe to our channel. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in our next video.